Heyo! And what is up, gang? Thank you so much for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. Last night's Monday Night Raw was very, very good. So good, in fact, that it would prove to be a very hard act to follow for tonight's SmackDown Live from San Diego, California. Were they able to do it? Could they put on a show that was as good, if not better, than Monday Night Raw last night? That's what we're here to talk about right here, right now, on the newest, fastest rising podcast in all of the YouTube wrestling community. It is the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. So, let's do it.
Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
Alright, wrestling fans, thank you so much once again for checking out the channel tonight. My name is Nick Nightmare. Along with me is my little buddy, my loyal companion, my tag team partner, and the World Heavyweight Champion of microphones, Blue the Snowball. This is the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show right here on Sledgehammer TV. Thank you guys so much once again for joining us. Don't forget, if you're new around these parts, to hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Sledgehammer Club today. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button and then ring the bell to turn your notifications on. This way, every single time a video just like this one drops on YouTube, you will be notified the very second that it does. Very important for staying in touch and in tune with all of the news, rumors, and highlights from the world of sports entertainment, most especially the WWE, which is what we are here to talk about tonight. SmackDown Live came to us from San Diego, California, and the crowd tonight was pretty damn good, just as good as last night's Los Angeles crowd, if I'm being honest. However, the show would not be as good as last night's Raw, and you know what? It might be unfair, because last night quite possibly was the best Raw of the entire year. If you want to hear what I thought about last night's Raw, it was not without its problems. It was by far a better show than what we've been getting, but it is very far from what we actually should be getting as of late. But it was a very, very big step in the right direction. Tonight was just the same old shit from the WWE as it pertains to SmackDown Live. We got our usual formulaic type of show where the beginning was very good and the end was very good, but there was just a bunch of stuff that kind of happened in the middle. Nothing of importance happened tonight outside of a few announcements that could have just as easily been made via social media or on the WWE's .com website. You know what I mean? All tonight was a few announcements. And I see where they're trying to go, and I want to get behind it. But tonight just seemed like a very dull show. Like they really had nothing for tonight. So we just pretty much had the Kevin and Sami show. They dominated most of the show, which is not a complaint because they are very entertaining. But just because they're the best thing you got going doesn't mean you have to shove them into our eyeballs each and every turn after every commercial break, every single look back at what happened earlier in the night or what happened last week. It's definitely tonight the Kevin and Sami show, which is great for them, but not so great as it looks at the quality of the show as a whole. Because by overexposing Owens and Zayn, you are going to make us very bored of them very quickly, no matter how entertaining this storyline might be. Another very big problem with tonight's SmackDown Live in comparison to last night is not just that last night we had a bunch of great wrestling. Every single match last night was very, very good. Tonight, we had 2 good matches, and then 3 matches that probably didn't need to happen at all. We'll get into the match card just in a few minutes. But the biggest problem, aside from SmackDown Live really being focused and centralized around Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon has gone from being the likable McMahon that everybody wants to get behind, who's buddies with Daniel Bryan, to the male version of Stephanie, or a younger version of Vince. He is nowhere near as intense as either of those two maniacs, but he is definitely starting to turn back into that corporate Shane. And having the show be about him, and what he wants, and that this is his agenda that we're focusing on each and every week, that he wants Owens and Zayn gone. That's the agenda of SmackDown Live. Whereas on the other show, on Raw last night, it was really about wrestling. Everything had its little story piece and its set piece, but we had a lot of great wrestling. If you juxtapose great wrestling with some of these segments we had tonight, I may be a little bit more forgiving. But when they go to their normal way out, you know, the WWE's always looking to get everybody on TV. Never more so than with the women. It's like they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so we have to get everybody on TV. So we're just going to put every woman in the one segment. And then we'll have one other segment that'll feature just two women. Maybe. But for the most part, we're going to have as many girls involved in the one match we have on that night as possible. And it's annoying. Whatever happened to one-on-one competition? Why do we have to have this faction warfare? How many different factions are we going to have go down? We got Sasha and Bayley and Mickey forming a trio over there. We got the Absolution coming up, starting all this nonsense. Then we got Ruby Riott and her pigeon flock, the Riot Squad, coming up out of nowhere, looking as green as grass, looking like a sore thumb that doesn't fit. Remember that song on Sesame Street? One of these things don't go with the other. I know I didn't sing it right. You know the words. You can correct me in the comments if you feel the need to do so. But you know the song I'm talking about. They stick out like, forget it, man. They don't belong there. Ruby Riott was okay on the mic. She is actually much better on the mic than any of the other girls that came up from NXT. But that does not make this intriguing must-see television. Nobody knows who these girls are. I don't think anybody even cares. I barely care, and I know who they are. They were brought up too soon, just to fill out the roster. And why bring them up if your only motivation is just to have them as pieces, as props on the outside? Or as multi-person match fodder. We're just going to stick all the girls in every match. And they did the same thing with the tag team division for the tag team championships at the Clash of Champions coming up. This thing started out with the potential of being the Usos versus Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, which I was very much into for one-on-one or team versus team competition, 2-on-2. I was all in. I was ready to see that match. I thought it was going to be a show-stealing attraction for the Clash of Champions. But that's not what happened. We got the New Day added. And now, because Rusev and Aiden English won their match tonight, they've been added. So now it's a fatal four-way. Here we are again talking about another fatal four-way. Can you please come up with something just a little bit different? Why can't we just have had two teams going at it for the tag team championships? Maybe throw a ladder in there if you want to change it up. You want to throw a gimmick at us? Another fatal four-way? If you go in that route, you know, the Bludgeon Brothers won their match. They've been winning their matches. Rusev and Aiden English, is this the first match they've even won? Maybe the second since they've become a team? And that automatically grants them insertion into the tag team title match? But the Bludgeon Brothers, since coming up last month, have done nothing but decimate opponents. They have broken up the Hype Bros. They have made an impact. By all counts, they are the ones that should be inserted if you want to add more teams. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. When we know how I feel about wrestling, when it does not make sense, it does not make me happy. There was a lot about this show that did not make me happy, but there were a few nice little moments, and we will touch on those as well. So let's get started with this match card before I rant and rave myself to death. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn make their way to the ring. Kevin Owens is saying that they are victims of the McMahon family agenda, much like their predecessors Daniel Bryan and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart. Sami Zayn would echo these sentiments, but they would say that they are better than all of those guys because they actually outsmarted Shane McMahon last week. They conformed to the system, they followed Shane's rules, and yet they still came out on top. Sami Zayn would go on to leave the ring to illustrate how they stayed within the confines of Shane McMahon's rules and that they did not break any rules. That he did not attack and he did not even approach the ringside area, and he attacked Randy Orton on the stage. So he was well within his rights to do so. It was a no disqualification match. It should not have mattered. But yet they still are finding themselves being punished for this. While Sami left to illustrate his point, from out of nowhere, Randy Orton would hit with her RKO, taking Kevin Owens out. Then Shane McMahon would come out and announce that he has planned a tag team match for Owens and Zayn at the Clash of Champions. And it will be they going up against Randy Orton and a mystery opponent. An opponent yet to be named. An opponent of Randy Orton's choosing. I already knew who was going to be Randy Orton's partner as soon as Shane McMahon announced this. I actually expected him to say the man's name before he announced that Randy Orton will choose his own partner. It's just something I automatically seen coming. It was somewhat predictable. If I could see it coming from a mile away, I don't really care for it. This is something we've seen already. It's a very unusual pairing, and we will get more into that as we get to tonight's main event, which was the other thing that Shane McMahon decided to announce tonight, which would be Sami Zayn, since he's got so much energy, and since Shane McMahon feels the need to quell that energy, is going to go one-on-one against the Viper tonight, and he invites Kevin Owens to be at ringside, opposite of what he did last week, only he will be handcuffed to the bottom rope for the entirety of the match. This obviously did not make Sami and Kevin happy at all. As we came back from commercial break, they were in the back. Sami saying that this is really bad. Kevin is holding his head, saying he can't move his neck. He's really selling the RKO in the back, and he's unsure of what Shane McMahon even say. So Sami Zayn filled him in on everything. He tells him he's wrestling Randy tonight. You're going to be handcuffed to the ring. They go on and on, unhappy about Shane McMahon, and they are going to go to Daniel Bryan and make an appeal. Already, like I said, we've talked about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the majority of the opening segment of this show, and it did not involve a matchup. So, again, a little bit too much of them on this night, if you ask me. As much as I love them. I love them both very much, but I just thought it will be a little too much, as you'll see. Aiden English and Rusev get the jobber entrance. They don't even get shown coming out to the ring. We come back from commercial once again, and we have them in the ring already, getting ready to celebrate Rusev Day, which is every day. Every day is Rusev Day, especially here on Sledgehammer TV. We celebrate Rusev Day every day, as apparently everybody else is starting to do. Because Rusev and Rusev Day is so over, man. I cannot tell you how happy it makes me to see the crowd solidly behind Rusev as they were tonight. The pop that he got when he pulled out that t-shirt, which I want, which I need, and I just might wear on every broadcast, because like I said, every day is Rusev Day here. This was an interesting matchup. Like I said, Aiden English and Rusev would end up getting placed into the Tag Team Championship match because they would win their match tonight versus the New Day. Big E and Kofi Kingston would be in action with Xavier Woods on the outside. And it was a decent match, a lot of back and forth action. And Rusev looked good. Big E actually looked good. I like Rusev versus Big E. I just like that dynamic. I think that would be a very good singles feud one day. Maybe for a mid-card championship once they go on their separate ways from what they're doing right now. Who knows? I just like the way they look in the ring together, and their chemistry is there. It probably could get a little bit better, but it just appeals to me. I like that matchup, and this matchup was very good. It was very, very good. And Rusev, on Rusev Day, would be the one coming out on top with a jumping thrust kick to the back of the head of Kofi Kingston to pick up the 3 count, and that would be the end of that segment. We would then take a look at a highlight package of what has been going down with the Hype Bros. Now, we would go to the back and see Mojo Rawley backstage with Renee Young, and I almost was not going to pay attention. But he immediately grabbed my interest because A, he was not hype, and B, he got very serious very, very quickly. Mojo says everybody has been getting on him for what he has done to Zack Ryder. But why isn't anybody asking about what Zack Ryder has done to him? Mojo reminds everybody that he was the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, like that really matters. He did that without Zack Ryder. He did that on his own. And just when things start to go his way and he's getting his own little push and he's getting his feet wet in the singles world, Zack comes back. And since he's come back, he's done nothing but drag him down. He's dead weight, and Mojo's a serious competitor. He's nobody's tag team partner. And if there's anybody in the locker room or in the entire arena who has an issue with what he did to Zack Ryder, they can just shove it. Now, that last line, did they shove it? They could have gave him something a little better than that. That seemed a little, schoolyard, little 5th grade, little lackluster, a little uncreative with the writing there. But I get his point, and I liked it. For the first time in the history of his career, since I have seen him the first time on NXT, I actually enjoyed a segment with Mojo Rawley. Look at that. I'm not even going to fumble his name like I normally do, because I like where this is going. And I think this is going to do good for both men. I'm very interested to see this new evolution of Mojo Rawley and just how deep and dark he can go. And as long as he stays calm, I think I'm going to be alright with it. Again, more backstage stuff. Baron Corbin runs into his opponent, one of his 2 opponents, for the Clash of Champions United States Championship matchup, Bobby Roode, the glorious one. Apparently they're going to have a match tonight and decide, well, let's have a little chit-chat first. Baron Corbin approaches Bobby Roode in the back and asks him what he thinks about the WWE, creative, or who did he give credit to, the commissioner or Daniel Bryan, whoever, making the match a triple threat match, claiming that Dolph does not belong in the match with them. Bobby Roode goes on to say that he could beat Corbin in a one-on-one match no problem, and his chances to win at the Clash of Champions only go down by 1/3. Corbin says his chance of retaining goes down by 1/3 because of Dolph Ziggler's involvement. And then Dolph Ziggler shows up wearing his little Stone Cold Steve Austin knockoff camouflage baseball cap. Actually looked probably better than I've seen him look in a while. And the swag he had and the attitude he had actually made me like, wow, where's this Dolph Ziggler kind of been? It's too bad I don't really give a shit anymore. So he shows up and he says he's in the match because he's a 2-time World Heavyweight Champion. He reminds them he's a 5-time Intercontinental Champion. He also held the United States Championship once already, and he cashed in his Money in the Bank contract successfully which he said very sarcastically, looking dead into the eyes of the lone wolf without breaking a sweat or batting an eye. Dolph says that both of them had their chances of winning at the Clash of Champions decreased to 0 because of his involvement. This was a decent little back and forth, but still, I do not like this triple threat aspect for this match. As I was complaining about earlier, why can't we just have one-on-one competitions for championship gold? It would be able to bring more prestige to the championship by having legitimate title matches. I feel like I haven't seen a legit title match that did not involve Brock Lesnar in ages, because any match involving Jinder Mahal is not legit right off the bat, even if AJ Styles is on the other end. You know what I mean. We didn't have any AJ Styles tonight either, which I found very, very surprising. We just had a highlight package of everything that's been going on with him and Jinder Mahal. I did not appreciate that, but I can't get too much on his back when Brock Lesnar's gone for the whole friggin' year. If AJ Styles wants to take a week off, you know, so be it. We then have the Bludgeon Brothers come out. Luke Harper and Eric Rowan going up against these two poor schmucks. We're going down Braun Strowman territory once again with these guys, after them going up against some actual tag teams that can give them some real competition. They are being demoted to jobbers. Two jobbers specifically named Adam James and Josh Carr. I'm almost positive that's not their real names, and if it is, I hope that they change them after tonight, because they're probably dead anyway. The Bludgeon Brothers destroyed these two guys with little to no effort, in little to no time, and it had almost little to no impact on the show. It was just them going through the motions. Let's build the Bludgeon Brothers. That's, you know, nothing really to complain about except what I had already just said. Like, how do they go from fighting the Hype Bros to fighting Adam James and Josh Carr, and you want me to care? You want me to think they're scary? Is that really going to make them more dominant or more threatening by beating up all these little people? It's the same complaint I had with Braun Strowman and everybody else they decide to do this with. I don't mind it so much with Asuka, only because there is such a lack of depth on the women's division side of things that you would have to just give her nobodies, or else everybody is going to look like a nobody compared to Asuka, which just might be the truth, especially when you look at the roster on this side. We're going to get to that in just a second. After the Bludgeon Brothers destroy these two poor schmucks, we get Baron Corbin versus Bobby Roode in a non-title match. I don't know why they would be going up against each other and not preparing for this triple threat match. It just, again, nonsensical. What is this match even for? There's no stakes involved. There's no stipulation involved to add or take away from the match. It's not for the title. So what's the point? The point is to get as many people on TV as possible, as we had Dolph Ziggler at ringside on commentary. Again, what do I tell you guys? Every single show, every Monday, every Tuesday, there is somebody in the back that is brought out to be on commentary. Monday night it was Alexa Bliss. Sometimes they do it twice in a night. It's become a ritual, it's become a routine, and it's become stale and boring, and it makes the match predictable. Anybody that thought we were going to see any kind of an outcome between these two guys during this match, you're a fool. Because once Dolph Ziggler was outside on that commentary booth, you already knew that what was going to happen was going to happen. This match barely even got started when Dolph Ziggler would get up from the announce table and enter the ring, delivering a zigzag to Bobby Roode and having the referee call for the bell, giving the win to Bobby Roode by disqualification. And then after the match, Baron Corbin, too, would eat a zigzag for his troubles. Dolph Ziggler standing over everybody a little too late to me. Just too little too late. You cannot have me believe for 1 minute that Dolph Ziggler is going to walk out of there with the United States Championship. The fact that you made him even look so good tonight is only more proof to the fact that he's going to be the one to end up eating the pin. They're going to make him look as strong as possible and then have him be the one to lose the match so that Bobby Roode don't take the fall. Corbin Dallas, not Corbin Dallas, that's my friend's fault. If you know who Corbin Dallas is, make that comment down below. Hashtag it in the comments section and you will be awesome, because I want to see how many people know where that name actually originated. Baron Corbin is the name I meant to say, and I don't even remember where I was going with it, so let's just drop the whole thing, because it didn't make sense anyway. I don't care. I don't care about this match, and it's a shame that I don't care about something that is involving the glorious Bobby Roode, and I hate it. Just like I hated everything that went down with the women. We already made mention of the fact that this has just become the segment to feature everybody in the women's division. Charlotte Flair versus Tamina Snuka. She had Carmella and Lana and Natty with her. For some reason, Ruby Riott and the Pigeon Squad would come out and she would, lend her 2 cents into everything that was going on. I didn't care. I barely was even listening to what these girls were saying. There was no reason for Natty to be out there. The whole thing is just a big mess. It's just a big mess. They don't know what to do. They are literally copy-pasting from the night before. It's almost the very same storyline going on both shows. I have no interest in it. Especially that in this case on the Blue brand, it's featuring B-level women. I don't care. And the fact that tonight we had Charlotte Flair versus Tamina Snuka. We had a Flair and a Snuka in a match tonight. And it was probably the worst match of the night. It was a very clumsy, very slow, very awkward bout. And I have no forgiveness when it comes to second generation talent. And I have been a proponent of Tamina on this show. If you've been watching me over the last year, through her ups and downs, and every time they try to push her and then they take her off TV, and then they try to push her again and then they take her off TV, I have been one of the people that have been saying Tamina Snuka could be great. She could be great. I always attributed the lack of greatness to the fact that she had nobody that could really dance with her on her level. And that maybe she was holding back too much. But tonight, she was given the best of the best. She was given Charlotte Flair. And the natural chemistry between the Flairs and the Snukas, I thought would just come out. Because when you have it in you, it's just supposed to come out. Right? Especially when you're given something great to work with. But apparently Tamina has gone out of her way tonight to prove me wrong and show that she can't even take something as simple as an armbar and make it look good. And I'm not saying this to down the women at all. I'm just speaking the truth. We bring the hammer down on this show. That's what we do. And as much as I want somebody like Tamina to succeed, based solely off of her generational connection to my past, it's just something, I've always said it. You guys hear me say it over and over. Second and third generation talent, I just have an affinity and I have a need to root for them, and I want them all to be successful, because I guess I don't want those names to fade away, and to have their kids carry on the legacy so that they never get forgotten is something that's great as a fan to see and as a fan to experience. And Tamina Snuka is not doing that. Charlotte is. It's a little bit much right from the offset, but I could forgive it because she is who she is and they're treating her as such. And it looks good. It looks good. Tamina Snuka, she didn't do it tonight. She didn't do it tonight. And if you can't dance with second nature Charlotte Flair, then you can't dance. And it pains me to say that, because like I said, I was a big fan. But tonight, wow, prove me wrong. After the match, Tamina would attack Sarah Logan, who was on the outside with Ruby and the other pigeon, Liv. I don't care. It just became a breakdown. Daniel Bryan ends up making a lumberjack match, right, for the Clash of Champions for the women's title. Because why? Because we need to get everybody on, say it with me, the show. We need to get everyone on the show, or else we're not doing our jobs, right? What happened to the days where people can take a week or two off and allow us to miss them, right? And go, hey, where's this guy? So that when he finally pops up, you're like, wow, there he is, you know? That's how it used to be done. You didn't always see everybody every single Monday on Raw. I don't know where they got this need to do that from. We didn't see every single talent every time on SmackDown. We didn't get to see everybody at every WrestleMania. If you did not do a good job that year, you were not put on the card. If you're not hot that month, you're not on the card. The WWE, I really, really believe, especially when it comes to the women's division, has empathy and feels bad and takes pity over the fact that they can't create anything for these girls to do, because it's not their fault that they suck at coming up with some wrestling stuff. So we have nothing for the girls to do. So we'll just throw them all together in the one thing we have for those two girls. We'll write an angle for Charlotte and Natty, which should already be over, but will involve all the girls. Why is it we have Charlotte and Natty one-on-one in a steel cage for a Starrcade that nobody's ever going to see, but for the pay-per-view that's going to be shown around the world, you're going to have, what now, the 5th lumberjack match of the year? Give me a fucking break. Absolutely terrible. And the main event, we would have Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton with Kevin Owens handcuffed to the bottom rope. This was a good match. Like I said, the show ended off pretty hot because Sami Zayn is fantastic, and Randy Orton, when given a good opponent, is very good. And he and Sami Zayn put on a fantastic match. But it was not about that. This match would be about Kevin Owens on the outside driving everybody crazy while he was handcuffed to the ropes, going up and down, panting and pacing like a dog, absolutely beside himself, until Sami Zayn would come out of nowhere with some bolt cutters. Kevin Owens would finally free himself from his restraints and become a factor in this matchup. Not much of a factor, as Randy Orton would end up getting the win with a quick roll-up on Sami Zayn. He didn't even hit him with the RKO. And here is where my problem comes with this match. I almost fully expected Sami Zayn to go over on Randy Orton tonight, and I'll tell you why. Because if you start the show saying that they're going to have this tag team match, you should at least make it be somewhat believable that Randy Orton would need a partner, right? But if he could just go out and beat Sami Zayn tonight without even hitting the RKO and having Kevin Owens at ringside, what does he even need a partner for? Did you think of that? It makes it stupid. It almost makes it now seem like whoever he picks, he's stacked the deck against Owens and Zayn regardless, because he's Randy Orton. And he could beat them 2-on-1, apparently. Kevin Owens broke free of his handcuffs, and Randy Orton still came out with the win. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn would then attack Randy Orton after the match, which would prompt Shinsuke Nakamura to come out and deliver a Kinshasa to Sami Zayn, clear the ring, and I guess declare himself Randy Orton's opponent. Was this pre-planned? Did Randy Orton go out and pick him during all the segments we had to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn crying about everything and talking to Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan siding with Shane McMahon, and Shane McMahon pissed off in the back? Somewhere during the course of these last 2 hours, did Randy Orton have a discussion with Shinsuke that we are all unaware of? Or is this just random? Is this just Shinsuke coming out to help because they happened to team together once before? I don't understand. I really don't. If they really wanted to do it this way, Sami Zayn should have won tonight. They should have continued and relentlessly attacked Randy Orton, maybe even to the point where you could be threatening to put him through the announce table when finally the violins would wail and Shinsuke could freak his way down to the ring to save Randy Orton, making it much more dramatic, much more impactful. You made Orton and Zayn look great, but that's not what they did. They did the exact opposite of that. They gave the win to the veteran that doesn't need it, and they gave us a very predictable outcome when all was said and done. And that was SmackDown tonight, you guys. No Fandango. No Fashion Police again, even though last week they said next week. They like to keep doing that. And then not even a mention of it as far as I recall. I don't know, maybe I missed it. You can fill me in if I missed anything, because I don't really think I did. At the very end of the show, before we go off the air, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon would be in the back, looking over their handiwork, being very, well, Shane McMahon anyway, being very satisfied with the way the show went off the air, obviously, as Randy and Shinsuke were reigning victorious in the ring. And Daniel Bryan would be under the assumption that, okay, here we are, this is over, and now you're done punishing them, right? And Shane McMahon, on the contrary, would say, these guys, I'm just getting started with, because what I forgot to tell them is that when I made that tag match for Clash of Champions, I failed to mention that I'm going to be the special guest referee. So now the deck is stacked even further against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and he was not done yet, as his final act of the evening was to tell the world that if and when Sami and Kevin lose this match at the Clash of Champions, they will be fired. And not just from SmackDown, but from all of the WWE. And that was it. That was your most impactful moment of the night. That was the moment of the night. And if you want to compare that to what we got last night, when Matt Hardy was woken and showed it to the world, SmackDown Live had no chance tonight. They had no chance to beat Monday Night Raw this week. I'm not even going to put up a poll. They haven't been working, even though I've been putting them up in some of the past ones. If you guys are voting, I wouldn't know, because I can't get the results. And apparently it has not been working right on YouTube. So I'm not even going to bother, because this week is a no-brainer. Hands down. Hands down, bro. Monday Night Raw stole the show this week. And it's not even just because of Matt Hardy. It's because of a lot of the great wrestling we saw last night. This week, what did we get? We got a 2-minute squash on SmackDown for the Bludgeon Brothers. We got a terrible women's match. We had a decent opening contest for the tag team division. We had a decent, a very good match between Owens and Zayn at the end. And we had a meaningless Bobby Roode versus Baron Corbin Dallas, Corbin Burnson, whatever you want to call him. All I'm calling him is garbage. And I can't wait to see him lose the United States Championship to Bobby Roode, because that's what I really hope happens at the Clash of Champions. Outside of that, everything else could stay exactly the same, because SmackDown Live, it ain't going nowhere. It really ain't going nowhere right now. Hopefully, things start to look up. That's it, you guys. That's all I got for this SmackDown Live review, Tuesday, December the 5th, 2017. Thank you guys for joining us here tonight. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Subscribe if you are not a member of the Sledgehammer Club. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not done so during the course of this show already. And make sure you check out Clutch Chairs down in the description below. Hit the link down there and it'll tell you and bring you to some really, really cool WWE merchandise. Some awesome computer chairs that are good for your back. Maybe you guys need a nice little desk to set up your little gaming squad and your little, whatever you got, your HDs and your 4Ks and all your screens. You might need a nice sturdy desk. Clutch Chairs got you covered. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Nick Nightmare. You see the tag right down there below blue. It's right there for you guys if you don't know how to spell it. And don't forget to check out the Facebook page and become a fan over there. This way you can stay on top of all of our news there as well. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the World Heavyweight Champion of Microphones, Blue the Snowball, my tag team partner, thanking you for being here once again on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. That is going to do it, and we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Keep your eyes glued to the channel. We got lots of stuff coming to you guys this week. All the news, rumors, and highlights in the world of sports and entertainment coming at you as only we can bring it to you right here on Sledgehammer TV. Thank you very much. You guys have a good night, and we will see you next time.